Bethesda's future has leaked so many times that at this point, the difficult part is not finding a roadmap. The difficult part is working out which roadmap we're actually looking at. We now have 3 layers of information: the internal ZeniMax schedule exposed through Microsoft's FTC court case, new reports about projects being moved or cancelled, and Bethesda's own updates on Fallout, The Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield. When you put all of that together, Bethesda appears to have games planned well into the 2030s. More importantly, this looks like a change to the way Bethesda handles its biggest franchises. The old system placed The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Starfield in one enormous queue behind Bethesda Game Studios. The emerging system uses remasters, partners, and multiple teams to stop those franchises disappearing for 15 years at a time. That could solve Bethesda's biggest problem. It could also produce a lot of expensive projects that never make it out of the building. So let's separate what is confirmed, what is credibly reported, and what is still pure speculation, and then build the most realistic version of Bethesda's upcoming roadmap. The document that started all of this became public in September 2023, but the actual presentation was created in July 2020, before Microsoft had even completed its purchase of ZeniMax. This was not a promise to fans, it was an internal acquisition forecast, and even when it was made, it was optimistic as hell. The document listed an Oblivion remaster, something called Doom Year Zero, a Fallout 3 remaster, Dishonored 3, a Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, an Indiana Jones game, Project Kestrel, a Project Platinum, and another licensed IP title. It also placed The Elder Scrolls 6 in the 2024 financial year, which tells you everything you need to know about trusting those original dates. The calendar was torn to pieces, but the names proved far more valuable than the release windows. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle eventually arrived. Starfield and its downloadable content arrived. Oblivion Remastered became real and was surprise released in 2025. And Doom Year Zero almost certainly evolved into what we now know as Doom the Dark Ages, a prequel followed by substantial downloadable content. We cannot prove that every renamed project is a one-to-one match. The mysterious licensed IP game could be Marvel's Blade, but Bethesda has never connected those dots. Still, enough of the document has materialized that we cannot dismiss it. The right way to read it is as evidence of what Bethesda wanted to make, not proof that every game is still alive. This is where the roadmap gets less exciting but far more revealing. Project Kestrel is widely believed to have become Project Blackbird, an unannounced online game reportedly built by ZeniMax Online Studios. Microsoft cancelled Blackbird during its 2025 cut, so if that connection is correct, Kestrel and its expansion are gone. Project Platinum has been linked to an unannounced competitive shooter at Machine Games. A former Bethesda employee later referenced a cancelled PvP shooter, creating a convincing but not conclusive trail. Ghostwire Tokyo 2 is harder to imagine. Microsoft closed Tango Gameworks before Crafton rescued the studio, while the Ghostwire rights stayed with Microsoft. Bethesda could assign it elsewhere, but there is no evidence that it has. Dishonored 3 also appeared plainly on the schedule, but Arcane Lyon is making Marvel's Blade. Arcane Austin was closed and no new Dishonored had been announced. Treat it as an old intention, not a modern promise. That is the lesson of the FTC leak. A real document can contain real projects and still give you a false picture of the future. Now we reach the part that is no longer rumor. In July 2026, Bethesda Game Studios confirmed that it has been working on remasters of both Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. There are no dates, no announced platforms, no confirmed developers, and no explanation of how extensive either remaster will be. After Oblivion Remastered, people will expect a similar approach. Preserve the original underneath, modernize its presentation, and update selected systems. That would make sense, but Bethesda has not promised it. Fallout 3 has the stronger paper trail because it appeared on the 2020 schedule. New Vegas did not, which suggests Bethesda's plan has expanded since the document was created. If I had to predict the order, I would put Fallout 3 first. It is older, it appeared on the original roadmap, and Bethesda is holding a live Fallout Day event in Washington DC for the series' anniversary in 2027. Considering Fallout 3's setting, the marketing opportunity is comically obvious, but that is an educated prediction, not a leaked release date. The only official statement is that both remasters are being worked on. We do know that Fallout 76 will receive Raven Rock in 2027, described as a prequel story to Fallout 3. Fallout Shelter and The Elder Scrolls Online will also continue receiving support. Starfield is not being abandoned either. Bethesda says it will keep adding stories, focused gameplay improvements and updates with the new Starborn content planned for 2027. The language suggests a smaller long-term team can continue developing the game while the majority of Bethesda game studios moves on to the Elder Scrolls 6. So the near-term roadmap is not built around a brand new flagship RPG, it is built around expansions, remasters and ongoing support designed to keep Bethesda's worlds active while the larger games take shape. The most important project might be the unnamed Fallout game being made with Obsidian. Bethesda has confirmed the collaboration, but it has not called the game New Vegas 2 or revealed its setting. Separate reporting says Josh Sawyer, director of the original New Vegas, is leading it. The possibilities are fascinating, but we should not invent a sequel Bethesda has not announced. The real significance is structural. For years, the future of Fallout was trapped behind Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6. Bethesda game studios could only build one enormous RPG at full scale at a time, meaning one of gaming's biggest properties was left without a new single-player release, while the television adaptation introduced millions of people to the series. Allowing Obsidian back into the wasteland breaks the bottleneck. It also suggests Microsoft no longer wants valuable franchises dependent on one studio's production cycle. That does not mean Bethesda has lost creative control, and a large Obsidian RPG could still be several years away. But for the first time in a long time, Fallout's future is a pipeline rather than a single distant destination. Fallout 76 content, 2 remasters, an Obsidian project, and eventually Fallout 5. Bethesda says the Elder Scrolls 6 is now its primary development focus, with the majority of the team working on it. The studio also says it is playing the game every day and is where it planned to be. That is encouraging, but it is not a release window. The 2020 target is obviously dead. A late decade release is more believable than the dates pulled from that old spreadsheet, but Bethesda has committed to nothing publicly. The more interesting detail is Creation Engine 3. Bethesda says both the Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 are being developed on this shared technology platform, which is designed to support multiple projects simultaneously. Now, calling it Creation Engine 3 will immediately worry people who still remember Starfield's technical limitations. A new number does not magically erase decades of inherited systems or guarantee perfect performance. Replacing the engine would not be a magic solution either. Bethesda's games depend on object persistence, mod support, and unusually interactive worlds. The question is whether Bethesda has genuinely upgraded its tools, streaming animation and production pipeline, and that final point may matter most. Bethesda is presenting Creation Engine 3 as a way to let more work happen in parallel. If that succeeds, Fallout 5 does not need to sit completely frozen until every Elder Scrolls developer has finished their job. Fallout 5 is officially in production, while the Elder Scrolls 6 remains the main event. That probably means a smaller group is establishing its setting, systems and technical foundations, while full production stays on Elder Scrolls. Unless the new structure dramatically improves Bethesda's speed, Fallout 5 still looks like an early 2030 game at best. The remasters and Obsidian projects exist precisely because that destination remains a long way off. Outside Bethesda game studios, the picture is more uncertain. Marvel's Blade remains Arcane Leon's announced project. Xbox's restructuring has created anxiety, but publicly the game has not yet been cancelled. Wolfenstein 3 has not been unveiled, but multiple reports say Machine Games has returned to it, making it one of the more believable unannounced Bethesda games. A full Quake revival is harder to call. A 30th anniversary update is not confirmation of a new AAA game. The demand is there, the evidence is not. So Blade is announced, Wolfenstein 3 is credibly reported, a new Quake is hope, and Dishonored 3 and Ghostwire 2 remain historical possibilities. Strip away the obsolete dates and the likely order becomes clear. First comes Starfield, Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 updates, including Raven Rock in 2027, then the Fallout 3 and New Vegas remasters, probably staggered rather than released together. Beyond those sits the Elder Scrolls 6 as Bethesda Game Studios' next flagship, with Blade and a reportedly developing Wolfenstein 3 elsewhere. Further out is Obsidian's Fallout project. At the very end sits Fallout 5. The long-range sequel, Creation Engine 3, is supposed to help Bethesda build without returning to a painfully slow, one game at a time model. Bethesda finally seems to understand that Fallout and the Elder Scrolls are too important to vanish for entire generations. Remasters can fill the gaps, partners can create new stories, and live games can keep communities engaged. But this strategy is emerging after layoffs, cancellations, and restructuring. A roadmap can look incredible and still collapse once budgets change. The FTC document proves it. So yes, Bethesda's next decade could include 2 Fallout remasters, a new Obsidian Fallout, The Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, more Starfield, Blade, and Wolfenstein 3. That is a genuinely ridiculous lineup. Just do not confuse a strong list of intentions with a reliable calendar. For me, the biggest story is not that one old leak predicted an Oblivion remaster, it is that Bethesda's franchises are finally escaping the queue. Whether Microsoft can manage all of those teams without cutting the project before they are finished, that is the question that will define Bethesda's future.